Hello everyone, EvilsRealm here, and welcome to EvilsRealm, the show where I talk about all things gaming, like news, new games, bad games, and everything else related. Today's topic is a game called Towns. Now, Towns is an indie city building RPG strategy thing that has caused a lot of controversy on Steam. Well, and I'll let you know why. So, anyways, Towns is a game that looked promising, but it took a very quick turn for the worst, and ended up being a huge warning to people about unfinished games, and games in beta and all that kind of stuff. And what do you mean? Well, let me tell you. Towns was a game being developed, just like most other indie games that come along, and, you know, they generally chug along quite well. But anyways, you may have heard of a Steam system called Greenlight. Now, Greenlight was a system put in place to allow games to get onto Steam. Now, this was before the early access system. So anyways, he decided that he would get his game put on the Steam to see what happened, and just so happens everybody voted for it because, you know, it looked like a finished, polished game. And to be fair, the developer never said anything about it not being finished, so that was quite worrying. So yeah, really, it was an early access game, and definitely early access is better used for games like The Forest that are definitely in an unfinished state. Anyways, yeah, people weren't very happy when they found out that it was basically an unfinished game, that it made its way onto Steam. And you can imagine so. I mean, people bought it thinking that it was a fully finished game. Nowhere on there did it say that this was not a finished game. And even still, on the Steam page of Towns, it doesn't say that it's unfinished. And I don't understand why it doesn't say that, because it's not a finished game, yet it's being basically advertised as a finished game. Quite bad if you ask me. Anyways, the original developer stopped working on it, basically just saying he's had enough, and he passed it over to a second external developer who worked on it for like a commission based, and he would get a certain percentage of money from the sales that he would get from the game. But of course, by then, the game would have already sold most of the copies that it was going to, and with all the negative press and the comments, I doubt it was going to sell more, thus leaving the external developer to stop working on the game, even saying it's just not worth it, as they can barely make a living from working on the game, because there's just not enough copies being sold. So, what we learn? Games like this, and any game that is in the early access program, or maybe an unfinished game that is on Steam, may never actually ever finish. But what's funny is that they can get away with this. There is nothing stopping the developers from just building half a game that looks good and then running off with the cash from early access. Steam has no rules or guidelines and systems that will punish developers for not finishing their game. I really think that if they want to be on early access program, then there needs to be a set rule. Things like dates and failure to meet dates would result in the game being pulled from early access. Of course, there would be some leeway, allowing some delays on updates. Luckily, most games on the early access are coming along nice and fine. But even still, there is nothing to stop developers from just leaving the game in a dead state. Now here's another example. There's a game called Cube. This looked amazing, and many people bought into it, and then developer took a year, just disappeared for a whole year, didn't say a word to anyone, didn't reply to any of the comments, nothing. He just left. Poofed. Disappeared completely. And just left the game in what was basically a broken, buggy, crappy mess. Even though the game looked promising, it was just in a horrible state. But luckily, I think he's come back now to continue development on it. And that's good. And that is a good thing, but that's also worrying thing that he's already disappeared once before. What's to say he won't do it again? Maybe he'll add another update and people will be like, it's been updated, let's buy into it now. And then he'll just disappear again. It's a possibility, it could happen. So I really think that there needs to be some protection on these type of games. Just a way to protect consumers from being royally fucked over in many different ways. And I mean, you're buying into like a 10, 20, 30 pound early access game that's not finished. And again, you're paying 30 quid for something that may never ever be finished. And if you're okay with that, then fair enough. I mean, that's your choice, but I think it's kind of disgusting to think that a developer could just stop working on a game because he chooses to. To me, that's just horrible. So I really do think that Steam needs to implement some kind of rules to say that you as a developer need to get this game finished, you need to meet certain dates for updates, and this is what you need to do. If you don't meet those, then you're getting pulled from Steam Early Access. Because otherwise, there's no reason for them to ever finish their game. There's nothing to punish them for just giving a crappy mess. But then again, you can say that it's also a consumer side thing, that they need to be wary of what they're buying and what they're getting into. So I say, do look at what you're buying. Look into what the game is, look into what the company is, check for any negative reviews, see what the game is, see what state the game is in, all of that kind of stuff. Just make sure you know what you're buying into before you get into it. And I sure as hell know that I haven't done this, and I know that I need to learn a lesson myself, and I definitely have. And I really am put off by just put off early access now of these so many games that are just unfinished but look so amazing, and it's quite a shame, it really is. But yeah, I hope that this kind of stuff doesn't happen a lot, because it would really be horrible, I think, and it could be really bad for the game industry if stuff like this just continues to happen. Well, anyways guys, my name's been EvilsRealm. I want to thank you for listening to me talk and rant about the game.